My name's Kevin LaGoo, and I volunteer for Project Healing Waters out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And at Project Healing Waters, what we do is we teach vets how to fly fish, how to fly cast, tie flies, tie knots, anything that's fly fishing related. We teach them and expose them to as much as we can. Specific to fly tying, what we look for is flies that have three criteria predominantly. Simplicity of the fly to tie, cost effectiveness, so we're looking for materials they can use multiple times, and then the third, and probably the most important, is the effectiveness of it in catching fish, specifically trout. So today the fly that I'm going to tie we used last year on the Tellico River, and we found it in a book called Simple Flies, and it's called the Peacock Hurl Nymph. And basically what it is, it requires one material, and that's going to be peacock herl. So I'm using a curved hook. You can use a straight hook. I do like the curved hook better. I like the way it, you get a little bit better hook gap, I think, with it. I just like the way that the fly looks better rather than using a straight hook, but you can use a straight hook if you like. We do put wire on the fly to weight it. I predominantly fish the Tellico and in the Smokies, so I don't have to use a lot of weight on the hook. So I use a nice lightweight. And what you want to do, you can adjust it so where the areas that you fish, if you have deeper waters or if you have situations where you got pools and you want to get down deeper, you can adjust this and use a heavier wire if you like to, but we typically use a lighter wire for this particular fly. I do try and because peacock herl is so brittle, I do try and have a little bit of a ramp up to the wire and behind it, and I do cover the wire fully. Just to try and move any sharp edges or areas where the peacock herl could fall down in between the wire and break. But like I say, it's a very simple fly to tie. And the effectiveness of the fly is what's actually attracted us to it. Like I said, the book that I found is called Simple Flies, and this was one of the flies that I kind of latched onto and looking through the book, so I do highly recommend that book. It's got a lot of good flies in it. So you build up a nice little dam in front and back and cover the wire really well. This size hook I'm using is a 12, and so for a 12 I tend to use 3 peacock herl on the fly. And you do want to snip the ends off, the little blue parts, if yours are already been pre-plucked, as it were. So I always snip the ends off. Some people don't. I always do. I just like a cleaner break on it. Then what I also do is I like to stroke the peacock herl backwards to fluff it up. I do think it helps the fly be a little bit more effective. I generally just like the look of the fly better with it. It gives it kind of a silhouette of having a lot of little legs on it. And since this is peacock herl, you don't have to worry about, the little phrase of the herl showing up because you're going to cover that anyway. And you can make a peacock herl dubbing rope if you like. I don't on this fly, but you can do that. And you just wrap the fly forward with the peacock herl. On this particular fly, even though I have a rotary vise, I don't typically use it. The rotary function for this only because peacock herl is being a little brittle. I have a tendency of over-tightening sometimes, so I just do it by hand. But what I do on this particular fly is, contrary to what we normally do, I do wrap it closer to the hook eye than I normally would. And the reason I do that is I'm trying to make it a little bit more durable by, rather than just snipping it off now like most people will be apt to do, I like to fold the peacock herl back and go over it again. And that's where I'm kind of building my head up now, and I'm locking that peacock herl in even better. It seems to improve the durability of the fly, and then you snip it off. And this is your basic peacock herl that's in that book, Simple Flies, and it does prove to be effective. Like I said before, we look for flies that we can do combination materials with, or maybe do slight variances to. And so what I like to use to do a wing on it is some pearl flash. I have played with the amount of flash on it, a bigger wing, a simpler wing. The number of strands I've used does not seem to impact the effectiveness of the fly, but I do tend to like a little bit thicker wing on it that I can see it. I do like having a little bit more flash associated with it. And so what I also do, same with the Peacock Hurl, I tie a little bit more on than I would need so I can pull it back and lock it in better. And then whip finish. I do not use head cement in this fly. I don't feel it's necessary, but you can. And then as far as wing length goes, I've tried short, I've tried mid-body. I've kind of come to the point where I like just cutting it off right at the back of the body. I think it gives a more fuller look and you get a little bit more flash out of it. And so that's another variant that we use. And then the third variant we use in this is we actually turned it into a soft tackle. So last year we tied the Peacock Hurl Nymph by itself as it's illustrated in that book, Simple Flies. We put a wing on it, and then we also did a soft tackle version. So we gave the vets 3 different versions they could tie and use. We tied all 3 up, went to the Tellico River. They all fished well, but I would say that the version, at least that day, that was the soft tackle, we caught the most trout on that day. But all 3 of them are very effective flies, and that's it. That's the Peacock Hurl Nymph.